So really, really interesting. And a good segue into what I want to talk about next, which is the upper bracket. You mentioned LGG there as taking a lot of those ideas from EG and adapting them. Nomad, what did you see from LGD this evening that was quite so impressive?
I mean, what's impressive about LGD? Like,
What isn't
everything.
impressive, I suppose, is a better question.
Yeah,
Nothing.
they're playing some phenomenal Dota 2 right now. These guys. I mean, what I like most about this series was that they come into the first one, right? You know, they did the usual, you know, ban out the tiny and play into what they thought was coming up, which was the Bristleback. They got that right, and I think from there on out, I think they had a pretty good chance, a pretty good read on what Virtus Pro were going to bring to the table for that first game, right? I feel like first games are often just a case of like, you know, you're probably going to get what you want and we're probably going to get what we want, and we'll basically try and see whose idea is better, and then the meta develops through any series. I think that's more or less what happens. Game number 2, they're just like, you know what, we're a game up, we're in the upper bracket, let's let through the IO Tiny, see if we can break it. You know, it'd be such a huge statement if we can beat the hero which everyone's banning in the tournament. And I mean, they didn't just beat it; they destroyed that poor Tiny. Like, that was just such domination. I love their tactics coming into it. You know, basically just picking 4 heroes which can deal with it really well, which can stop you wanting to run around the map and play wherever you want. The information gathering from the Monkey King, I think, was really integral to that. Even though he wasn't a core role, he was still doing a lot of just running around the map like a lunatic. So I don't know how Army does it, but he just still gets loads and loads of money whilst giving his team so much information. He's crazy, and yeah, I mean, it was a pleasure.
Ips, talk me through that game 2 draft that they beat because I'm going to be honest here. My curry arrived, and I was like, I'll eat my curry and then I'll catch the rest of the game, and the game was already over. So I don't really know what happened in that game. So Kips, tell me and the viewers who maybe didn't catch it what happened in that game 2 with the LGD draft.
I mean, for me, it's really just, yeah, they have the IO Tiny, but because of the way that their other 2 lanes went, they also have a lot of pressure on that IO Tiny to immediately start contributing. And normally, if your other lanes have things to put in, you can utilize the burst damage of the Tiny quite well. But their Darkseer had an abysmal laning stage versus the Oracle, constantly getting his Iron Shell taken off, or nothing for him to do there. And GPK got smacked in mid by Nothing to Say. The matchup is decent up until you hit level 6 on the Konka, and after that it just goes downhill very fast. And you only have to miss 1 or 2 fights and not get kills in those in order to get really, really far behind with the snowbally kind of lineup that VP was playing there. And after that point, I mean, Ame, as Nomad said, this man has been playing up all season. I thought, is he as good as people say he is, because he keeps getting caught out. He was just seeing where the limit was. He knows where it is now. And yeah, it's incredible how oppressive he can play once he knows that he's got the upper hand in the game.
Does that gel with your understanding of the game, Sammy?
Yeah, I've been like the Ame fanboy for a couple of years now. I think since TI7.
Oh yeah, you liked Ame before he was cool.
I'm not LGD Ame fan, but like I am, you know, I was a pretty big proponent. I copied a lot of what I do off of watching him. He's always been kind of a more aggressive carry. He plays closer to the center of the map, where he's, you know, it enables him to basically be closer to the fights. He tends to show up to things, like he tends to want to show up to skirmishes, take, you know, nice angles on the fights. And it has constituted to him feeding a bit over the years. It's kind of, you know, I talk about it in terms of, you know, you're always taking a percentage with what you do. You know, you're kind of making a guess. I mean, when I try to play Dota, I try to have a visualization of basically where everyone is on the map, and then I try to play off that, and I say, okay, well, you know, I think they're over there. I think I'm gonna walk through here. I don't think they have vision. I think their vision isn't here and here, and so that means I can walk through this pathway and be in fog and enter this fight from like some super sick angle, right? Ame does a lot of those types of things really well. I'd say he's probably the best carry in the world at it, and I think LGD have finally. I shouldn't say finally, but I think that the play style that Dota is coming to right now really benefits his particular play style. I think it's a really good Ame patch. I think that the heroes that are strong and the way teams like to play really enable him to kind of come online and do what he wants to do. And he's been trying to play this way for 3 years. But finally now, LGD are really showing just how powerful this playstyle is and how active they are on the map. So
You mentioned that they've come alive in this patch. Is it just a good patch for them, or is because a good team can play amazing in any patch? Are they
yeah,
that
absolutely.
team?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's just a patch. I just think that the way that LGD are playing Dota is how I imagine Ame has wanted to play Dota for 3 years. I think this guy wants to be active. I think this is a patch where if you're active as a carry, it's a nice time to be. These carries are showing up to everything and they're really playing the map in a fluid way. And what I mean by that is we're seeing them invade Tricamp at like between 10 and 15 minutes. They're making active plays to Tricamp to big jungle all over the map. I think we have seen more and more teams, and I'll say, I would say EG were the first ones to do this at the start of the season, but really take control of the middle of the map more. The middle of the map has always been like the most important lane. I think that's been known in Dota for years, but we're really seeing teams take advantage of it and play throughout, through the middle of the map basically to enable them to invade all 4 jungles, to enable them to move in a fluid way. Because I think in some of the other teams at this tournament and in general, they play kind of more of the split game. They play on more of the sides of the map, and I think it really limits your options. I think LGD put themselves in a position where they have multiple play options at all times, and I would say that's basically the most power you can have in Dota. That's like it's insanely high pressure. When you're playing against a team and you feel like they can make 3 different moves at any given time, it's basically impossible to play a map game versus that because you don't know what's happening, you don't know what they're doing. And LGD are finding ways to have enough power to make that happen. And starting at 10 minutes, they start doing this, and it's just amazing to watch because it's the type of replays where me as a player, I would if I play against them and I lose, I would open up the replay and I'd be like, holy shit, like this game's over at 12 minutes. We're down 3K, but they have so much power to make moves, and we have we feel so powerless. We actually don't have the power to defend ourselves, and it looks like LGD makes most teams feel like that. Through basically taking the middle of the map and playing a really fluid game.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing to watch.